hello camera. Hi.
Welcome everyone to Camp Fasola. Okay, how many of you guys are here at camp for the first time? All right, oh, big round of applause then.
The most important thing you can understand today is how to recognize these notes and the relative distance between those. All right, let's do this. And I'll stop when I do and hold the last note that I hold.
subservient to the actual doing of the thing. That if you need it, it's there, but most of the time it really doesn't come up. As long as you can find where fa is, you're okay. So why don't we just do this? Sometimes, particularly with people who are more experienced in classical music, it's been helpful to tell them, if you get lost, don't be thinking, what does a G sound like? Think, what does a fa sound like? Because wherever you are, if you can find your way back to fa.
This is the scale. Let's go all the way through it now. And we'll go straight through it and down a couple of times, and then we'll move around. You have to learn the intervals if you're going to sing without making a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes, worse than I used to. I used to think old people couldn't sing, and then I found out that's not exactly right. They can't see and they can't hear. And they forget what they just saw and they just heard. I'm going to tell y'all, I call my wife Honey because I can't remember her name. If you call the wrong woman, you're in trouble. All right, here we go. Let's do this. to you and that make a mistake, help them, don't criticize them. We do not criticize our beginners, okay? Now you criticize me, it won't bother me, so don't worry about it, because I'll probably criticize you somewhere down the road.
If you do it in a special rhythm, go ahead. Fa, mi, la, sol, fa, la, sol, fa. Does anyone know that song? Yeah. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. So that's still just the scale. It's still just the major scale. It's called descending when you're going down. It's a descending major scale. But when you put some rhythm to it, it turns into a song.
We're going to start with the green stick people. We're going to sing this scale, and then the red stick people get ready because we're going to come in exactly one-third away from these folks. And then we're going to go up and down the scale in harmony. We're going to hear how this sounds, okay? So, who did I say? This is green stick over here. Okay, so here we go.
Which one do you like? Fasola or me? Fa. Always give you the fa. All right, let's get our hand up. We'll do a whole note and 2 half notes, 4 quarter notes, then 8 notes, then 16 notes. Ready? How about fa? Let's go slow. Fa. You guys don't say it, but nice singing, that was good. Okay, so when Caleb flips his, you guys just say fa. You don't have to sing. We're just remembering what the shapes are. So you see triangle and fa comes out of your mouth as fast as you can. Ready? Fa. Fa. But not before. Fa. Mi. So. La. And now flip it back down. So it's like whoop whoop. Really fast. Whoop whoop. Okay. Fa. So. Fa. La. Mi. Alright, now we're going to we do it together for all of them. 2 half notes for their equivalent fill a measure. 4 quarter notes for their equivalent fill a measure. 2 quarter notes for their equivalent fill a measure.
3 half notes for their equivalent fill a measure.
Now louder.
3 quarter notes for their equivalent fill a measure.
2 more.
6 quarter notes for their equivalent fill a measure.
1 more.
6 8 notes for their equivalent fill a measure.
Yes, good. Zombies. Timekeeper. This is the scale game. So there are two missions, should you choose to accept them. The first mission is to line yourself up in height order, shortest over there where Rachel is, and tallest over there where Grant, is that right? Tristan. Wait, hold on. Stay there. Sorry. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for listening. That's the first thing you do. Then after that, you move your papers. You don't move your bodies. Just once you're in height order, then you trade papers with each other to make the major scale. Let me put the major scale up a little higher so we can see it, because I want your classmates to help you make sure you're in the right order. Okay, you know your 2 missions. Height order, and then switch the papers to make the major scale.
Wait, which one of those 2?
Fasola, Fasola, Mi, Fa.
We'll figure it out.
I think you should count them on.
Get out of there.
Are you ready? Set, go! Okay. Okay, start switching your papers. Switch your papers around. Switch.
No, you stay.
You guys stay.
Your first 3 are good.
You good? First one to the top. Back Lauren, yeah. Switch. Time.
23 seconds.
How much?
I got 13 left.
Pretty good.
I got 13 left.
Okay, now move forward like 2 steps, everyone. Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna sing on the people scale. All right, now just you guys out there. Okay, now just the people standing in the line. Everyone together.
There's a reason this is fun, having the tallest person at the highest note. They usually have a very deep voice. Alright, so we'll bring the pitch down just a little bit to help top. Okay. So Shelby will start on. 1, 2, ready, go.
Let's go down. Okay, let's do a tiny bit of jumping. Fa. want to try and sing your notes?
Yes. Yes.
You can do it. I'll help you out. Are you ready? So. Nice.
Wonderful.
Okay, you guys can sit now. 3, 2, 1, go.
Give her all. You have to make her Paris soap. It doesn't go Fasola, Fasola.
Ready?
48 seconds. Okay, now it's
So good. Okay. Yeah.
Are you guys ready? La, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, la, Okay, do you guys want to try singing your notes? Come on, be brave. Very nice.
You're right. Okay. I'm sorry, I got issues. Okay. La, la, sol, fa. That was pretty good. How do you do this? I can't believe it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Like I said, you didn't learn this here. Okay. Ba. So we're gonna start on la. La, sol, la, mi, fa. Hang on. We gotta stay together. We're gonna practice most of the time tomorrow, so I know we're jumping ahead. But that's a whole measure of 3 beats. So let's all stay together. Watch me. Well, you watch the music because I know you don't know the song. La, la, sol, la, mi, fa. La, sol, fa, sol. Fa, la, sol, sol, la, mi, fa. I needed that little honking horn to, you guys were great. You made it. You got it. All right, I did. It was a face of astonishment that you had got that. It looked like
From the early days in New England, when this kind of took off, around the late 1700s and certainly around 1801 is when the shake notes began to appear. And it's from that time and from those singing schools and those singing school teachers and tunesmiths who began to write their own tunes that we retain the terms class, lesson, and recess. And from the Southern tradition, and maybe from the Yankee too, as far as we know, dinner on the grounds. because of the teacher would come to a given location and everybody would sit, of course, without in, whatever, and bring dinner on the ground so that they could sing all day. The differences between conventional choral practice and Sacred Heart singing, and everything that sets it apart. Okay, we still strive to sing on pitch, which is the same as conventional choral singing, and read more or less standard music notation. But one of the basic differences is that in Sacred Heart singing, and this was brilliant of me to focus all my attention on this, is that there is no audience and no money and no glory and no fame, and we don't sing what anybody else tells us. It's strictly for our own enjoyment. Tenors are carrying melody, and tradition has evolved so that the leader faces the tenor and sings the tenor. They should be leading both with their voice and with the timing. This is a little irritating to the altos. I sang the alto for the first 5 or 6 years, and we could never see or hear what was going on, and rarely would even see what the beat was. Now, this is the responsibility of the front bench tenor. The tenors have an unrestricted view of the leader. And if I'm doing this, tenors, say that's a tenor, so I'm going to the altos. If I'm doing this, you have no idea. You have no idea what the beat is, right? So not only should it follow everything I'm doing, you know, the front bench should also be doing what I'm doing, so that they can get it. And we're not in several different tempos, because it will happen. It will happen if nobody else around the square is working. All of a sudden you have this kind of a jangle of tempos, and everybody's getting slower, or rushing ahead or something, because they just don't know what the beat is. And of course, the designated pitchers do tend to be found among the ranks of the tenors. Sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the most talented pitcher in the room may be an alto, bass or treble. And that's just the way it'll be. But if possible, have it come from this section. When we first started singing, we were so annoyed that all the beginners had to sit in the back. You know, we're like, put us up there where the people know what they're doing. We want to listen in. To, you know, it's not... Because we didn't understand what was going on. We didn't understand that this is all about the leader getting up, calling the tune, and having strong singers be able to help him pull the whole class into that song with the proper tempo. That didn't come to us right away. We thought it was about learning the tune, I don't know, because we were beginners. But when you get up there and you've got all beginners on the front bench, you're lost. No one is going to help you, and you need help. And so, I don't know why this person hasn't really figured that out. Go ahead.
I've had visitors who come to stay with me and have gotten all torn up about this very thing. Listen, no one is going to kill you if you sing Uncle Joe's song, or, you know, I live here. And when I was first learning to sing, I got up and did 384 up on Sand Mountain. Oh. You know, well, what happened? He got up and did it over again. That's what's going to happen there. So don't freak yourself. Don't get, yeah, they might get up with you. Just don't get all freaked out about it.
Well, now, who got up? Because I associate it with several people now.
Popcorn.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I'm taking for this, don't leave 384.
You're the first. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
On the subject of picking your song, not from the arranging committees, but from the other thing, if you're noticing that the mood in the room is one way or another, normally you want to use person, but like I noticed this at Western Mass, like after dinner on Sunday afternoon, everybody left to have lots of dessert because the energy was together. And everybody was calling all these major songs and taking it at double the normal tempo. You know, it was just wonderful. But it was like the law of balancing things out. I thought at that point we would just go out of the room and everybody was just ready to go.
Yeah.
So how do you, like, should
Sometimes
you
you
change
know,
your...
but sometimes you have to go with that. You have to go with that.
So you go with it, you don't try and balance.
Yeah, I mean, if people are just up, you know, rushing through tunes and the mood isn't necessarily fitting it, but the after lunch thing tends to be a traditional time of high energy, blow out whatever's left if you got it. you know, just sing all your best, biggest, you know, they can be the slowest too, you know, big slow songs, but they tend to, you know, a high energy type of thing. It probably is to deserve. But I was making an effort to slow that down. When you had a run of 5 or 10 really hot songs, people will keep that in their memory for a long time. You can slow it down later when you think you're about to have a heart rate, or, you know, they sing a more fast song. But
So it's appropriate.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know, not to kill everybody, but yes, yeah, keep it going. Particularly when you can see from everybody's faces that they're really into it, and they're, you know, it's hot, it's smoking. Let it go. Keep it going.
And this is a direct quote from our Rudiments. Modest, downward and upward strokes are much to be preferred. Modest, downward and upward strokes are much to be preferred. Now, some of us are born modest, and some of us achieve modesty. Some of us have modesty thrust upon us. Okay, for a hymn, if you can't lead a hymn in here, learn. If you can't lead a hymn in this space, learn with up and down strokes. And you can watch a real good leader, and they're not going to stay in this thing. I understand that. But it's like an abstract, an impressionist painting. You know, some big old artist's name can draw a house you can recognize as a house before he gets off and does goofy stuff, right? A good leader will be able to have a controlled, nice hymn in here, in this frame, you know, and before getting fancy and bringing in parts and doing little flicks and turns and stuff like that. It's best to draw attention to the song and to get the good out of the song and not draw attention to oneself in the square. So this is not something that I bring to scare people or intimidate them, but it sure is something, because I've heard different singing teachers say, you know, shoulder to waist, you want to do this, you want to do this, and I'll still see singers that, you know, were in that same class that I was in, and they're doing this thing with their beat pattern. Where is that downbeat? I can't tell. The highest point of the arc is up there or something, and you know, or else the people that are, you know, tickling the alto's knees as they're going back, you know. So just keep this visual in mind. When you watch a singer lead the class, I do not give you permission to be judgmental. But be critical. Look critically at the singer and ask yourself, is the leader getting out of the song what he wants? And sometimes it's because it's too big. The beat is too big. Also, some people like to sing fast. I've been accused of singing fast. If you want to sing a song pretty quick, if you have a small beat pattern, it'll move right along. It'll move, as Pam said last night, right pert. You know, if you've got something that's worthy of an aerobics class, you know, you're gonna slow yourself down with a big motion like that.
Now, I observed a couple people just very gently leading with just the wrist last night. So what's your...
Did we stay together?
Yeah.
Was there accent?
Yeah.
Then they must have been doing it right. Mm-hmm. There is more than one right way. There are many right ways.
Now here's something. Miss Judy talked about measure bars. Measure bars are really important. In some music, they don't even see the measure bars. But in our music, the measure bars are very important. The measure bar tells you something in sacred harmony. You know what it tells you? Where your hand should be. Every time you see a measure bar, your hand should be going up this side and down this side. Okay? If you ever find your hand going under, you are wrong. In fact, some people say that they're like fence posts, like they call these kids' heads are fence posts, and I'm driving my car, and I'm leaning my hand, okay, I'm not driving, I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm beating my head against it. And every time I come to a fence point, I lift my hand up and up and up. And I go over all the posts as I'm driving in my car, right? And if I get lazy and I miss one, whack! Oh, man! So the same thing with the measure bar. Make sure that your hand's always going over the bar. In fact, that's a 3-word answer. How should your hand go when you see a measure bar? Over the bar. Always? 100% of the time?
You know, everybody says we're going to start by going down, right? And so it's like, you know, right? But really, your first beat, the first time you sing, goes down, all right? So you need to help people know when that's going to happen, okay? And it's called a preparatory gesture. How fancy does that sound, all right? So instead of sol, fa, fa, okay, we're just going to do just a little bit. I mean, you got to watch closely. There it is. I mean, you really got, there it is, okay? If you're not, okay? Now, let's sing together. Sol, fa, 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 mi, fa, sol. Okay, good. Did you know it was coming? Kind of. I'm going to do one more thing. This is just, this is the easiest thing in the world to do, okay? You're doing it right now, in fact. Here we go. I hope you're doing it right now. So, fa, fa, fa. What else did I do? Okay, now you don't walk to the dining hall later going, but you're, I mean, I'm pretty sure most of you are breathing right now. Really hope so. Otherwise you are a robot, and that scares me. Right?
So let's sing this song and see how we do with that hold. This hold's it's a little strange because when you come back in, you're coming back into that second half of the measure. So while you're doing the hold, you have to move your hand down to prepare to come back up in the second half. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? It's a little complicated to explain. But let's give it a try and see how it goes. Fa, sol, la.
Start a song, and I think it was my fault I got started a little too slowly, and I want to speed it up a little bit. Well, I just need to start beating time faster and singing faster, and you'll probably come along with me. Let me prove that point, okay? Back to 45. Amen. Amazing Grace. If you don't know this, you need to be back down Lauren. Okay? Here we go. Sol, fa, sol, sol, fa.
First measure, we have to rest until when? We have, what is that last note that we have?
Eighth note.
Eighth note, right? And we have, so when are we going to sing it? I forgot this. Yeah, we're almost going to sing it on our way down, right? So, just watch and listen for when we beat that upbeat and we're resting the whole time. So, fa, fa. So, fa. Right when we get to the top, it's almost going to feel like we're singing right at the kick on the way down. So, fa. Sing like that, okay? So, fa. Sing the first verse by yourself and give us a good downbeat and good upbeat on that first one, okay? So the Lord into his garden comes, the spices yield their rich perfumes, the spices yield their rich perfumes, the lilies grow and thrive, refreshing showers of grace divine from Jesus flow to every vine, from Jesus flow to every vine, which makes the dead revive.
So tempo is how fast or slow something is. We've addressed that a little bit with the different modes of time, and 2/2 being slower than 4/4, which is slower than 2/4. But that's all up to the discretion of the leader to some extent. So those are all relative tempi, but they're not in this little box. There are big ranges of what fast and slow are as related to each other. So what I want to encourage you to do when leading a song is to think about relative speeds, but to choose one and to stick with it, and don't let your class change it, and don't let anybody change it. So know what you want, know what you think is appropriate for that song at that time, what you want it to sound like, choose it, and stick with it.
So
to hold the syllable of the poetry for the duration that that curved line or that beamed flag appears. So do you hear my voice go, kind? That's a slur. Kindness, mutual love, where no. All right, you just sing all the slurs. I'll sing everything. You just join me on the slurs. Ready? Put your hand up. This is going to be a slur quiz. Here we go. Oh, sing with me of social spheres where breeze and kindness, mutual love. I think you can spot it. Where no ungentle look appears, though faithless pleasure needs reprove. These are the best ones. Ready? Come, sing along, bright and fair, in anxious sky and beauteous earth. Oh, sing on that, on board there, with treasures building.
Yeah, let's just be
somewhere you can do just basic ringing and part.
318.
So what?
Good slurs.
318.
Talk through.
Everybody listen up.
So what's our mode of time? 4. We have some slurs.
Yeah.
Do we have a time? Yep. Time.
The real good time for the bass is, see how the bass of the word last? It's 2 whole notes and a dotted half. But in my mathematics, that's 11 counts. We get to hold that thing for 11 counts. And it's the word last, we just got to make it last. And another thing that's interesting is what a slur does is sometimes fun to say it. A slur causes you to take the syllable of the word you're on and glide. So if we were singing the third verse, we go, redeemed us all from death and, that's a slur, the joint flags. Death and dread and with. So when you see that curved line, that's your voice gliding. With thy gifts. Always glides for one syllable of a word. So enjoy those, they're so fun. They're really fun when they cross the bar line.
Hit it. Oh.